Experience Cyclone Filter Cleaner, the smarter, faster way to clean your pool filter. Tired of slow and messy filter cleaning that leaves your back hurting? Cyclone Filter Cleaner changes that. Now you can clean 4 filters in 15 minutes. Designed by pool pros, its spinning action reaches deep into every pleat without you bending over. Just connect your hose, slide the filter on, and watch the magic happen. Clean smarter, faster, and easier with Cyclone Filter Cleaner.
Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Support for today's Friday on a Friday, heard every Friday at 1 p.m., comes from Vac Bags, a global brand that's locally owned and operated, providing pool debris bags to pool guys in SoCal, so your pool can be debris-free for the weekend. More info at vacbags.com, VACBAGZ.com.
Hey Pool Pros, tired of roasting under the sun in gear that doesn't hold up? Revved Up Apparel has your back with SPF protected apparel made for the Pool Pro. Want to stand out from the competition? Done. No minimum orders, no inventory stress. We handle the design, hosting, printing, and fulfillment, so you can focus on the grind. Whether you're a single poler or managing a whole fleet, this is how you gear up smart and stay sharp. Check out RevvedUpApparel.com. Built for the Pool Pro. Designed for the proud.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer. Trusted by over 30,000 pool service pros across North America, Skimmer software helps you save time, grow revenue, and boost your 5-star reviews. Whether you're just starting out or owning the market, Skimmer's easy-to-use tools and expert support have you covered. Upgrade your business in 2025 with Skimmer. Visit getskimmer.com/tip of the day to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, and listen to the big homie Pete the Pool Guy. Dropping game, keep it real, put the knowledge on deck. From backyard pools to collecting them checks. Ain't no gimmicks, no stress, just some free flow talk. Breaking bread, building up, gotta walk that walk. From the glory to the hustle, every move got a plan. If you work it the right way, you can level up, man. Pool Full Podcast, let's vibe. Game so deep, let's ride. From the valley to the masses, we know. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Pool Full Podcast, let's vibe. Game so deep, let's ride. From the valley to the masses, we know. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Pool Food Podcast, where we talk about business, pools, and everything in between. I'm your host, Pete the Pool Guy. And yes, it's been a while. The last episode dropped before December. Then I had the holidays. Then I had just had to catch up on some things. So it just became a thing where I just couldn't create an episode. But we're back, and we're actually back with Michael from Visions Pools, and he's actually going to talk to us about goals, how to set up goals, especially not right now that we're starting off the new year. So we want to make sure we put some goals in place so that we have a good year this year. Michael, how you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah, I'm ready this time. I have my coffee and I have some notes. There's like 2 things I was going to show you. So, if people are listening or watching, we'll try to describe it if they're just listening what I'm talking about. But if you're watching it, then you'll get a better visual of what I'm talking about. But we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, go ahead, Mike. Kick it off. Let's go. Let's learn.
Okay. Well, being it's January, right? Let's let's talk about goals. And because, time of year, New Year's resolutions, all that kind of stuff. Perfect time. Everyone wants to make changes, to. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, no, it got silent for a second. But so let's talk about making goals and making them the right way and not making some mistakes, because the worst thing to happen is what's worse than not making any goals and not accomplishing your goals is making a bunch of goals and accomplishing them, but then finding out they were really nightmares in your life. You focus too much on one type of goal, and then it affects other things in your life. That's what we talked about in the first podcast. We didn't want to make certain kind of set up our business in a certain way that made other things in our life that are important affected. So basically, I see it as there's really two kinds of goals. There's good goals and bad goals, right? And the good goals are driven internally, right? They're not they're driven
Real quick, Mike.
from
Hold on, Mike.
Okay.
Real quick. Did you turn your camera off?
Okay, it's on. I can see me.
There you go. And by the way, Brian just joined in. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Pete.
How you doing?
Man, what a quick, let's hop on and get in a podcast. So, I got 15 minutes or so before I pick up one of the kids from practice. So
No
let's
worries.
get in it.
And you could always put it on mute. Mike's going to be talking about goals today.
Nice.
All right. Ready to go on. Let's see. So, good goals versus bad goals is basically there's a bad goal is really focused on an ego-driven type of goal. And it comes from like 4 different kind of categories that those bad goals that are ego-driven come from. It comes from whether your main purpose is, or main out of touch ego is that you're seeking fame, right? You want to be well known by a bunch of people, and you want everyone to know you, like you, things like that. Another bad, highly ego-driven goal is power. Okay, so there's a lot of people that just seek power. They want the power to be able to control other people. So fame type people are the people that, they go down to Hollywood, right? They want to become famous movie actors. Power driven type of goals, they come from the people that want to control politics, get into making people do things, the way they see fit, right? Another kind of very high ego goal is, excessive money. And the excessive money, if you're mostly focused on material things, so you want to create these money goals, and your main reason for that is so you can own your, Maserati or your Bugatti and stuff like that. Now, that's not all terrible. It's good to have those things too. But if there's no other internal reason for these goals, it's going to lead to sort of an unhappiness. It's going to be that mistaken goal that leads to something you weren't wanting. Yeah, maybe you got your Maserati, but you don't have your children that talk to you. Maybe you got your power, but you don't have your health. Makes sense? So
Makes sense.
The last one.
Real quick, Michael. Yeah. Real quick, Michael, not to interrupt. We got a couple other pool guys that just joined in. We got Zach from Pineapple Pool Boys. What's up, Zach?
Hello.
And then we got Marco from what was it? MTF Pools?
Yeah,
Marco?
MTF Pools.
Yeah. But we're talking about goals, guys. Go ahead,
cool.
Mike.
Well, I recognize everybody. That's good. um, so then the last sort of ego-driven goal is pleasure. And it's all about personal pleasure. You know, you're the person that wants to skip off to Vegas and, do a bunch of substances you're not supposed to and gamble off your kids' college tuition, at the casino. Okay. That's a very pleasure-driven, egotistical kind of person. So how we want those goals. That's what goals are based off. The goals are based off of a fame, a power, a money, and pleasure. That's where I'm sure 95% of all of our goals come from. So how do we make sure that when we make our goals that they're set up properly and not too extreme that's going to lead to a negative outcome? So what I say is, you want to just think about it is if you're a fame-driven person, you want your fame and likeness from other people to come from only the people you know. Come from your family, come from your friends. Those are the people that you want to like you, to know about you. It doesn't care if you have the biggest pool company and because you want someone in other cities to be envious of you. You know what I mean? And if you're kind of a power-driven person, then I think you should look at the fact that you want to control the power of only yourself, right? You need to have power in your own life. Don't try to control other people's lives. So if you are seeking power, but you can't even, wake up early in the morning, or you can't, eat healthy food, you don't have the power of your own life, you need to work on that first, and solely should be your main goal for those kinds of things. If you want money, the best thing, if your main focus is money, it's healthy to want money to have experiences, not just money to purchase stuff. We want a basic level of purchase. We all want a house. We all want, a decent car. We all want to take our kids on vacations and all this other stuff. But if all you want is an excessive amount of money for your own personal things that you want, I don't see that as being very healthy. And with pleasure, if you're a pleasure seeker kind of person, you want your pleasure to go from just that internal personal pleasure, egotistical pleasure, to seeing the pleasure in helping others, because if all you're doing is looking at yourself in the mirror all the time and what you want to accomplish, occasionally you need to see beyond the mirror and see that there's, people all over, even in your city, just millions of people that can really use help, that need your help. And the highest amount of pleasure comes from helping others. The highest amount of control is controlling yourself. The highest amount of fame is being liked by the family and friends that you know. And the highest amount of money is the people that use it for experiences, not just purchases. Okay? So just keep that in mind as we start to make our goals. Try to think, who are you? What mostly drives you when you think of goals? Do you start thinking about money? Do you start thinking about you want a big company so that people know you? Do you want to control your whole area and have the power over other pool companies, with hundreds of employees and things like that? That's just sort of a little pre-thing to goals.
So how is this going to tie into us pool guys? How can we tie this into our 2026 year?
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, as we make goals next, it's recognizing what are you most driven by, and not making the goals so focused on just that one thing that after 40 years, you accomplish all your money goals, but your children don't talk to you. or you don't become the biggest company in your city or in your state, and everyone knows you, but you know, you spend all your time at the doctor's because you're unhealthy. That's basically all I'm saying, right? So another way that people typically make goals is they do something like this. They say at the end of this year, I want to have 50 pools. Okay. So at the end of 2026, I want to have 50 pools, new pools to my account. So then they work backwards. Let me see. Where's my phone? They say 50 pools divided by 12. They divide it by 12 months. Okay, so that's 4.2 divided by 4 weeks. One pool. So they say, okay, I want 50 pools at the end of the year, so I'm going to get 1 pool a month or 1 pool a week, right? And if I get 1 pool a week, I'll reach my 50 pools at the end of the year. That's not a good way to make goals. You don't start at the end result of goals. Because if you really just ask yourself, what can I do today? What can I do this week to get pools? In one day's time, you can increase your Google ad spend. You could run you make some content, run on Instagram. You could create some door flyers. You could, walk door flyers. You could make calls to past clients. You could do all these things just in a day. And if you did that, how many pools could you really get in a week? I remember a while ago, Pete, you were like, yeah, I want to get some more pools. And you went out and you walked some flyers. This was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And you did a post. And you're like, hey, I got 3 clients in 2 days. Am I accurate with that? And then something like that happen? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about the week, you could get, at that rate, at what you were doing, you got 3 pools in 2 days, you can get maybe 5 a week. Okay. So now if you're getting 5 pools a week times 4 times 12, 240 pools a year. If you think on the shorter term versus the longer term, people will say, I want to lose 20 pounds at the end of the year. But how many pounds can you lose this week? 2? Maybe 2 pounds? All right. So now you lost 2 pounds a week. That's 100 pounds in a year. So don't think about a year's goal, right? Because you don't know who you're going to be in a year. You don't know who you're going to be in 6 months. Focus on now and see what that turns into in a year. Because it's always going to be bigger and better doing it that way than picking your far off goal and then working it backwards and seeing what do I need to do. Because getting 1 pull a week is like, you could do that in your sleep. So 50 pulls sounds great in a year, but 1 pull in a week, you don't need to, you can just sit at home and get 1 pull a week. Right?
I can't.
Oh, okay.
Well,
you
because it
did.
depends on, do you want that pool to be the cheapest person calling 18 companies and you just say yes, or are you looking to get one very profitable pool a week? There's a difference there. Like, could we all go and
Right.
get the cheapest paying customer ever every week? Of course, that'd be easy. But I'm not going to lose money cleaning their pool.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So it's also about
intentionally
it's about getting good quality accounts.
that are going to stay with you for 10 years, not as soon as you raise their price to market value, they're back on the phone calling and trying to find the next cheapest guy. Those people also aren't going to do an acid wash, replace their pump, get new cartridges, repair their vacuum, replace their pop-up gears, replace their pop-up heads. Like, they're not going to do any of those things. So you're not going to make money on that person anyways.
Brian, you are not in school, bro.
I'm
Just
in
speak
school.
up.
I always raise my hand on camera. So Michael, I think we're very closely aligned on how you, kind of your motivations that you talked about. And, so I think what is tough when you're communicating different philosophies on how you go about and why you go about, what's your motivation for setting goals is like, it's kind of like all us pool guys, we use it. Some of us use, our arm to measure things, or, sometimes I'll look at the bottom of my foot and I know the bottom of my foot's a perfect 12 inches. So when I'm walking, I've measured that out. I mean, you think that's weird. Like I've actually measured that out. And so when you're talking about philosophy, I think it's tough because one guy uses this measuring stick, another guy uses this measuring stick. So what would you say your philosophy more aligns with when you're measuring and say this is right and this is wrong?
Okay. Well, basically, I really, the first time I did a podcast with Pete, and I wanted to be clear on this, is I really don't see the industry the same, I don't think, as anyone else. I feel like everything I think and everything I do is really a little bit contradictory of what other people do. So, such as, what clients do you want? We could run an example of that, okay? And this is off topic of subjects, but since it was brought up, let's say there's two companies out there, okay? And one company has 50 pools, and they charge $300 a pool. What's that? 15,000. Okay, so they charge $300 a pool, and they make 15,000 a month. Okay, they're the high end. They have all the best clients. They're in the gated communities, and they got nice, pristine pools. Okay, now there's another company, and they have 100 pools, and they charge half of that because they have twice the amount of pools. They charge half of that. They make $15,000 a year also, or a month. Now, what pool company do you want? You want the 50, right? You're doing 50 pools, you make 15,000, or you could do 100 pools and make 15,000. So every pool guy is going to say, I want the 50 account pool company, right? But I'm going to change one variable, okay? You do your 50 pools in 40 hours a week because they're big pools. You get, however long they take, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. But the other company, and here's the changing variable, that has 100 pools, they do their pools in 40 hours a week. What's most important of our wealths that I talked about in the first podcast? Financial, your mental health, your time, your physical health, and your social well-being. So, the time is the same based on based on these two companies. So the time that's most important doesn't change. So now, which company is better? Which company would you rather have? I would rather have the 100.
Myself, I was gonna say I'd rather have the I think the 100 because they're gonna be. I'm thinking smaller pools versus bigger pools. I've always felt, me personally, this is just my opinion. I don't like bigger pools, man. Okay. I feel I take too much time on them. It's just too much work. I'm lazy. I like simple, fast, boom, boom, let's go, let's get it done.
That
and I find with from 10 to 15,000 gallon pools, regular size pools, I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I'm going through them. I'm moving.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think, Marco?
Everybody has a different philosophy.
I would. So I don't know how the pools are where you're at. I know the Coachella Valley has some really high end areas of golf courses and stuff. I have some pools that are 15,000 gallons that we're charging $300 a month plus chems on. It's because their house is worth $9 million. They're buying a new $200,000 car every year. They're not even here because they have 6 homes. You could tell them $150 a month and they say yes, or you could tell them $300 plus chems and they'll say yes to that.
And they'll say yeah.
So it's not always about time. It's about client expectation. They value, they equate the value you're charging with the value you're providing. They also want to, Some of them like to brag about shit. Hey, my pool guy's $500 a month and my pool looks great all the time. It might look great all the time if you only charge $200 also. But those pools are often really over-engineered, so they might have 3 pumps and 2 filters and a heater and a heat pump and a feature pump. So like where your simple play pool has a pump and a filter and that's it, and 1 light, maybe. It's LED, maybe. No automation. You know, you can get 1 pool that has the same equipment as 3 or 4 of your pools for you to repair and sell. So like per pool, and if your time is equal on service between those 2 scenarios, but your income potential on 50 pools is 3 times higher than your income potential on 100 pools, I'm picking 50 because those clients can afford everything that you want to sell them and that they need, and they might just want to say that they have the newest heater out there. Hey, your heater is 12 years old. You know, they've made a lot of advancements. You can get one much more energy efficient, one much more corrosion resistant. We can replumb your system so the water is more hydraulically efficient. All sorts of things, and these people will pay for those things. And your profit margin on those things is often way higher than a $150 a month service client.
But that doesn't mean that the $150 pool client won't pay for those things as well.
No, it doesn't.
Like
but you could just be making more money on it.
I want to chime in on this because this is so applicable. Like, I don't know if you guys all on the phone know, but I came from being a rep. So I had a 50,000 foot view of the whole industry. And I tell guys this all the time. I saw each of you guys and I met with each person. I'd sit down and talk with them and learn their business model. That's what encouraged me to want to go be a pool guy instead of going hop off and be another rep somewhere else. And what I learned is that every personality has a different thing that works for them. And you can't cookie cutter it by region. And B and Pete have talked about this. I talked about this with guys. Guys really want to quick. They want to say, hey, copy my model the way that I do things. And I'm always like the guy throwing wrenches in everybody's, gears saying, you have this factor, you have this factor, you have these things working for you, you have these things working against you. In any big business, maybe if you guys haven't been into, big billion-dollar business world, they spread their risk with diversity, right? It's the same way you manage your portfolio. You don't throw all your eggs into one philosophy basket and say, this is the type of guy. That's when you start pigeonholing yourself. That's when you're probably at higher risk. But there are big volume companies out there. They have as many problems, and I know the owners of them, 3,000, 4,000 pools, 5,000 pools, 2,000 pools, 1,500, big companies. And they have problems. They have risk. They work just as many hours as you do. But maybe they have more employees working for them, maybe they don't. So I think that it's tough to try to come up and say, here is the way that you need to do things as a business owner. What's going to work for your personality isn't going to work for the next guy's personality. I cater to high-end clients a lot easier. I like that. I live close to the neighborhoods. I can jump in and take care of the $400 pool customer pretty quickly. They like that service level. Yeah, I have to make a few more phone calls. I have to do a few more things, but I like that. The next guy's like, I don't want to waste time with that. Brian, you don't need customers like that. I learned that those customers love me and I love them. They're great people. We get along really well because we think the same. And I think that's the hard part. I think I would have a tough time with high volume pools because I care way too much about that customer and how they individually feel about me walking in their backyard. And I wouldn't say to somebody, like, here's this guy. There is success and you guys are all gifted. You guys all have like great qualities. And I think it's tough to kind of I tell people, like, don't make a disciple after yourself, right? Like, that's not good. Like, pick the standard, pick the rule somewhere, which is look at your marks and know if you're successful by, is your bills being paid on time? Do you have good cash flow? Do you have good margins in what you're selling? Is your customer service on point? You can measure those things. So goals have to be measurable. You can't, that's vision. Vision is like, I want to be I'm not saying vision, Mike, don't say that, I'm saying vision. I say like vision is different, right? Vision is like, it's in the clouds. This is the type of company I want to be. This type of person I want to be. I want to, I have a buddy who's like ripped all the time. I want to be ripped one day. It's like, well, how do I get there? And like you said, you got to go to the gym every day. You got to eat right. There's measurable things. But I think you have to have specific ways of measuring those things. Often it's with time, right? That's a big one. If you're going to have a goal of how many pools going to be, you set it like in a week, in a year, or whatever it is. But, we all are trying to compare ourselves with each other, I think, on social media a lot of times. And you really do have to boil down and see what type of guy you are. And is there a way to get outside of my little bubble that I'm in so I can see if I'm actually hitting these goals, if I am doing, because a lot of times we get discouraged. We're on this level of interacting with each other. We're trying to flex and do our thing. We're trying to post up enough videos or whatever, right? Pete, we've gone through social media over and over again, but it's like, be who you are. But first you have to figure out what you want and who you are. And if you don't have those group of guys around you to figure that out, then you're just going to be competing with the next guy that's doing his own thing. And I don't know, whatever, because I probably got to go. So I'm trying to wrap that. Sorry.
I don't disagree with that. And I just want to clarify, I don't have all high-end pools. Maybe like 20% of our clients are very wealthy with very, very nice properties that we charge a premium for. And then there's that middle ground in there, upper middle class. And then there's sometimes you have to have pools to fill out routes. Sometimes you have pools that you have had for a very long time and you need to get rid of them or raise their rates to justify keeping them, but you keep them because you like the client or it's next door to another one or, it's in the middle of the route.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get rid of it, especially if it can keep
it's a bridge, right?
Yeah,
It gets
especially
you
if you can
somewhere
keep your
else.
guys paid and busy. Sometimes you have to have those. Like if you have a full-time repair guy and you're turning down, like you're not getting jobs because you're pricing him too expensive, and now he's just costing you $1,000 a week or more, just sitting there not doing anything. Sometimes you just have to sign stuff so he's not costing you money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me, as far as like different philosophies on the business, I said in the first podcast we did, Pete, I was very clear about the reason I'm saying these things is so people just think about other possibilities. Okay. Because there's very, very common expectations of what people run their business like. We talked about all the different ways of making money, in the first podcast. And I was mentioning all the other ways just because for people to think about that. So in this example, I'm not saying to not have 50 pools at $300, and I'm not saying to have 100 pools at $150. I'm just saying if the variable of time is the same for you, so your amount of time is exactly the same based on which company you are working, what is the reality of which business works for you? So how I see it is if I had 100 pools and I worked the same length of time, when a person with 50 pools loses one customer, they lose 2% of their income. If I lose one customer, I lose 1% of my income. When you have to repair equipment, your rate of possible repairs is double. When you charge conditioners, let's say you charge $100. They make $5,000, I make $10,000. Because the time is the same, it's okay for me. Now, if I was working twice as much, then it's not worth it, right? But if I can,
because you're basically opening up different pipelines now. You have way more than just 50 pipelines now. You have 100 different clients that could be potential pump installs, repairs, and all that good stuff.
And what that really leads to is the concept of enterprise value. Okay, so if I have 100 pools, I have more options. Someone comes to me and they want to buy 25 pools. First of all, they can afford a lower price to purchase 25 pools. It doesn't drop my income as much. Okay. Also, if I give them 25 pools, they tend to be in the locations of the people that are, they're good. They're more lenient with that. Okay. When you are providing because you have a high price, and every price is different. Like if in one area a normal price is $300, then this example would be you had a pool of $600. Okay, so you can't send an employee to those things. So my pool at 100, even though the prices are less, has more enterprise value. It has an easier resale value. It has more ancillary income. You sell a Blu-ray to everybody. You're selling 100 Blu-rays. You're not selling 50 Blu-rays. So This whole concept came up just because it was about no, I kind of forgot why it came up, but it was a side thing about setting goals. So we could talk more about this, or we could go back to the goals, whatever.
What do you think, Zach?
Oh, I don't care. I was just chiming in. I joined late.
Okay,
and it depends on your.
Let's go back to goals.
Okay, and it does depend on your end goal, what you want. Okay, I want pools close to my house. Pools close to my house aren't those $300 pools. I would have to go far away all the time. So pools in my area are a lower price. I like to build companies, okay? Because there's a lot of excitement and creativity in building a company, and that drops away when it becomes a maintenance of your company. So I like to build companies, and the maintaining, I can pass off and work with other people. So I would rather have multiple accounts. And when I'm saying a low price, like I said, 300 versus 150, I'm not saying be a low price. I'm just saying that you have two choices.
You're just comparing both. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I said those prices, it's not like, oh, pools in my area are 200, but I'm saying 150. No, like I'm just saying like this is an example of different ways to build the business or how to see it where you want to. Because for all of my experiences, when pool guys tell me, they're always excited. I got into this community. Those pools are $5 million. Those houses are $5 million, and I made it up there. Now I'm a successful pool guy. And when someone from me calls in those areas, I don't even really want to go. Okay, because I have just a different method. I will go, but I have a different method because I don't want to trap myself into that. I don't want to get employees and deal with issues. If they are in those areas, they should have new equipment. They should have good heaters, have good pumps. You know, if something goes out,
a lot of them had shitty pool guys for a long time because those houses have been there for 25 years. Those pools are 25 years old. Their equipment's old.
Yeah.
And so you can make a fortune on it. So like I have one 2-year-old pool. Client bought the house. I serviced the house. We serviced the pool for a year and a half when it was vacant because they hadn't moved there yet. Very, very wealthy. 2-year-old equipment. Well, we're converting the automation over to Poolside Tech Attendant because they wanted to be able to have partial access controls and remote views and know what they're.
Oh, Zach, why do you gotta say that, dude? Why do you gotta say that, Zach? You know I'm the ex-Jandy rep over here.
I love Jandy too, but Jandy can't do all this shit.
All right.
Jandy can't tell me what my gas bill is going to be, what my electric bill is going to be. Jandy can't tell me when an actuator fails. Jandy can't tell me.
All right, I got the rep hat off. Don't worry, you keep going. I like learning about new things. You guys are all showing me all sorts of new cool things.
We're putting on a Clear Comfort AOP system. We are putting in a Jandy mineral pack, plumbing one of those in. We're going to put on an enzyme feeder. We're putting on the Poolside Tech chemical automation system. We're going to make it so we can run this pool at like a 0.5 free chlorine. We're going to have an acid feeding system on there to keep the pH balanced at all times. We're going to use borates. We just did a detailed acid wash and microglass package, which included a tile clean. So like this one pool is going to generate $40,000 to $50,000 in gross revenue this year. So how many $150 pools does that take?
Well, at let me get my calculator.
Let's just say 40,000 because they're also at 350 plus chems with 4 filter cleans a year.
But do you think that all the things that you're going to be doing, Zach, what I'm saying is like that could happen to any pool. It could happen a $150 pool or a $300 pool. I think the monthly service is something completely different than actually the installations or.
Well, before they hired us, they were paying $150.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I think
saying,
most of the pool guys have a
mindset on that.
Yeah, most of all pool guys.
You can have employees work those pools. I do. I know a few other companies that have employees working those pools.
Yeah, most of all pool guys will have a mix of everything. Like it's rare to catch somebody that's all high end or
Yeah.
all,
No, and I know a
you
guy with
know.
like 150 pools, and 120 of them are like 700 plus a month. But he has pools at 250.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it is healthy to have a good mix, but I do agree that if you're 100% super high end, your enterprise value is lower because each client is worth a larger percentage of your gross revenue and your profit, and it does entail more risk. So I do think it's healthy to have a balance. I just think it's like, don't limit yourself to like, I'm not going to go over it. And if you don't want to drive there, it's your company. That's awesome. I love the pool industry because everyone can build it however they want, and they can all make money and they can all be happy. But don't limit
Yeah, I
yourself
mean,
on what you think where you can go and what you can charge and what you can do.
if I say something different, it's not because I disagree with anything, because everything like that works. But when I say something different, it's because I just want other people to think about the possibility of a difference. That's really it. If there was a pool close by, I would love to. I would love to have every single pool I have at a higher price. Obviously, you know what I mean. I would love them all to be higher. I wish my area was Simple Easy Pools for $500. You know what I mean? So partly you're limited to your area, first of all, but it all boils down to, I give an example of monthly, making $15,000 a month with those two examples. It boils down to time too. If you have a far away pool, like I said, I don't go. If I have a far away pool and then it takes me 30 minutes and then I clean the pool for 30, 45 minutes, then a 30-minute drive back, and it's a $300 pool, I'd rather stay in my neighborhood and do 4 pools in that hour. And that the money at the end actually is more. And then I have 4 times the filter cleans, 4 times the conditioner charges, 4 times the tablet charges, 4 times the possibility of repair. Because when you put a repair in at the high-end pool, you put in a pump, let's say the pump, an average pump is $2,100 to install. Just because of the high-end pool, are you going to charge them $5,000? Not necessarily. So that kind of income should be the same, whether you're putting it in a $5 million house or a $500,000 house. But that's just how I see it. And
what are your guys' thoughts about that? Let's say we're installing a pump, the same pump on a very wealthy community and a very low income community, or a mixture. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Like, should you keep your price the same, or based on where you're installing it, should it go up or down?
I mean, I think your cost on the material and your markup on the material is going to be the same. The labor might be different. Like one client might not be able to afford a new suction side 3-way valve. They might not be able to afford to cut out some old, like usually when I'm installing stuff, I take the client back to the equipment if I can, if not, I'll send them a video and show them all the plumbing like repairs with couplers and extra 90s and 45s that have been done over the years. And I'm like, this is a great time for us to reset this and allow your pump that we're putting in to work more efficiently and live a longer life.
But what I'm asking is, if we're doing the same job,
the install and the labor part,
same job,
apples for apples.
Yeah.
I mean, generally you're going to charge. I would charge the same apples to apples. But if somebody, and we have clients where they have to go with a waterway pump or a rebuilt variable. There's a couple companies out here that'll rebuild variables and they'll give a 1-year warranty on it. So like it's rare that you're selling like the same pump to someone that is in a lower income area that's struggling month to month, because like there's options. Like there's 10 pumps that'll work here. Here's what I would recommend. So generally you're gonna recommend.
So customize the repair and the package based on the client and their price point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell a client that can afford a nice new Jandy pump to buy a waterway pump.
Why not? What's wrong with waterway?
I mean, it's just not going to last as long.
Right.
It's just not going to.
You know that Jandy pump will last forever.
I saw a lot of Jandy
I was
pumps.
waiting.
Ever.
I was
It'll last
waiting for you,
forever.
Brian.
It'll last forever. It's the best
And I
ever.
tell clients all the time, and one of the reasons I do like the Jandy automation and I really like Poolside Tech is like they're pretty much like universal remotes, because no manufacturer makes the best pump always and forever. they don't make the best heater always and forever. They don't, like, it ebbs and flows, just like cars and everything else. So I would,
and each product at different locations works better. Like you go try to take, I mean, hey,
and the warranty stations in the area and the rep support
Yeah.
from the company, like all of those things change. So you're going to sell
I've
what's
got,
best at the time. And for me right now, where I am, Jandy is the best pumps that you can sell at the best price point too. They're cheaper than Hayward and Pentair.
You just got to deal with that basket.
I don't mind the basket. I like to sell the big,
Yeah,
the
you
big
haven't cleaned up.
the big E
Hey,
pump with the
Zach,
giant basket.
you know what? I know, but I'm just being honest. Where's the aftermarket companies to make a better, or not the aftermarket, but the, so we need a little upgraded basket on that one because they do get stuck in there. That's the only complaint I have. I love it. And Jandy engineers,
hit up Swimmables or Valpak and tell them to make one.
Valpak is a good basket, bro. If they make one for Jandy, that'd be awesome. But I think what Michael's trying to say is that there's different options for everything, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, don't assume. I mean, this is kind of going on to the pricing, okay? But don't assume that a low pricing is a problem. Here's why. Can I tell you a little story about something that happened like maybe about 6 months ago, or maybe it was even a year ago? I had a client right by my house, and she was like 150 or something like that. They moved. The new people moved in, and they called me and they said, "Hey, we want the cheapest person." Basically, someone else came out. They told us 130. Can you do 125? I don't have any pools at 125, right? That's like my lowest. So, what does everyone say? They say every pool guy will walk away. They'll say, "No, my ego is 150." Okay, that's my minimum. So they'll walk away. Now, I accepted it at 125 because I knew something the new owners didn't know. They had children that were very excited to swim, and their heater did not work. It was trash. Okay, their grids were about to go out. So I said, yes, 125, that's fine. Within 1 week, she said, "Hey, our heater's not working." "Yeah, you need a new heater." Within 6 months, well, actually within the first month or two, I replaced the heater, I replaced the pump, I installed new filter grids. Right after that, I charged them conditioner, and then after that, I raised their price to 150, and they kept me. So I didn't let my
that's
ego
not guaranteed,
of pricing,
Mike.
Huh?
But Mike, that's not guaranteed. I mean, that same customer could turn around and be like, when the heater's not working, and they'll shop around, and nothing guarantees that you're going to get the job.
Okay. There's so much I have to talk about to get to answer all those kinds of questions, okay? Because every pool goes into a system I have, okay? The system can be location. If they're located right by me, I can keep them at a lower price. What if they're located farther away and they don't want a low price? Okay. Anyway, this takes a lot of prior explanations of why I do this, but they might go into a system of, well, they need a lot of equipment, they need construction, they need repairs, remodels. Okay. They go into my construction system. So I have to bring up to them, you need new equipment. You need new equipment. This plaster's bad. I try to get them to remodel the pool. Okay. Let's say that system doesn't work. Okay. They go into a different system. Maybe their system would be, I get an employee for them. Oh, they're in another city. So I have so-and-so over there. They'll take that pool. They'll pay me, and not an employee, but as a selling pool. So I send an employee. Oh, they don't like that guy. They want a low price. They won't remodel or repair anything. They won't want my helper to go do the pool. They won't do any of these things that make the pool profitable. At that point, I say, I can't keep you anymore. Okay? Your guy, you don't like my guy. Your plaster's terrible. It's costing me an extra lot of money, and you won't pay more. So that lady could have went into that system. But if I didn't take it, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't have installed a heater. I wouldn't have installed a pump. I wouldn't have fixed the grids. I wouldn't have charged the conditioner, and then immediately got her back at the price I wanted. If she didn't follow along those things, I would have one option. Do I want her in the system of my closest pool to my house? Because it was literally blocks away. And at that point, at 125, I probably would have still said no and had to cancel her. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to ask yourself, when you go to a yard, you shouldn't ask yourself about, well, what about this? And how do they act like this? Your main purpose should be, does this become profitable for me? And there's many avenues to get profit out of a pool.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that could be like a whole other podcast on putting them into the systems. But I feel like with the goals, we really haven't started talking about goals yet. So do we want to go to that? Or, I mean, I don't care. We could talk about anything, but I haven't.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the call was of today's episode was talking about goals and how to set up your goals for this year. So let's get into the goals.
Okay. So, first time we talked, I talked about the 5 types of wealth: financial, health, mental, and social, and whatever the other one was, right? I talked about all those. So your goals are always going to fall into one of those 5 categories. So the first thing I would do when you make goals is just make a mental mind map. Just come up with anything. So get a piece of paper, and just at the top, put, this is your health goals. Okay. So health goals, another piece of paper. This is your financial goals. Okay. Right. So you just have one piece of paper for every type of those wealths. Okay. Let me say them again, just so if when people actually want to do this, they're ready at this point. Their health, their financial, their social goals, their mental goals, and their time. That's what I forgot. Time goals. What does their time life look like? Okay. And come up without questioning yourself, without any kind of, criticism. Just write every type of goal you want under your health. Every type of goal. Example, lose 20 pounds. Next goal, feel better.
Have a 6-pack.
Have a 6-pack.
Financial. Not that 6-pack, Pete. Not that 6-pack, Pete. Okay, the other one.
Oh, the other one. I was gonna say have a keg, but all right, we're good.
Financial. Save $2,000 this month. Whatever. Okay, financial. Have 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Right. All these goals. Every page has a goal. Okay. Now, what you'll notice is some of the goals are actionable steps, and some of them are non-actionable. So get a highlighter, get a pen, and now just go through and circle what is an actionable step. What is something that actually takes an action out of you? And what is something that is non-actionable that you want? So I just said lose 20 pounds. That's not an action. That's the end result of an action. Okay, so that's circled, right? Feel better. That's an action, okay? Or no, that's a non-action, right? Feel better. Of course, that's the result of an action. Okay, so let's come up with an action. Go to the gym 3 times a week. There we go. That's an action, right? So circle that one. Go all the way down. Do that with all 5 of these types of wealth in your life. After you do that, you got to realize that the actionable steps are what leads to what you really want. Because what you really want, you don't want to go to the gym 3 times a week. You don't want to eat better. You don't want to put $2,000 in your savings every month. But what you do want is the 3 to 6 month emergency fund. What you do want is the 20 pounds less. Right? So our goals should be focused on the actions we can take that lead to the most amount of the non-actions. And what you'll notice is you have this list of 20 things. All of them all of those basically boil down to giving you the top maybe 3 actual goals you want. Okay. And what are the best ones? What's the best ones about your health? Is it, is it getting more sun, or is it running 3 times a week? Because what you want, those are both actions: get more sun or run 3 times a week. But what you really want is losing 20 pounds. Which one of those is better for that? Probably the running, right? So you come up. What was that?
Just run in the sun. Do both.
Right, do both.
Bam.
So they correlate very well. You find the top 3 that really correlate as much as possible to what you really want. You write those 3 down. You condense all 20 down to 3. Okay? Just 3 goals. 3 goals for your health, 3 goals for your financial, 3 goals for your mental, 3 goals for your blah, 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 blah. And then forget every other goal you had. Forget all the other 17 goals. Your only focus is going to be doing these 3 things. It's the only way to make goals sort of manageable, right? And you got rid of those. You only have 3. And now, and I can help in a little bit because mental and time is very confusing for people to understand. How do I make goals about my time? How do I make goals about my mental health? So I can give some examples of those in a little bit, but right now they're easy examples with health and money. Everyone understands that. Then take each category, and what you're going to do is give it a color. Give it an actual color. Okay, because you'll see why later, that when we see colors, we see our actual progress. We see where we lack, and we see where we have progressed. And I'll show you how that makes sense later. But so, you have some goals, and health is going to be, let's say, blue. And what's the other one? Financial is going to be orange, right? Something like that. So you have all 5. They all have a color. Okay, so now, let's see, what should we do next?
Michael, really quick, should these be like short term or long term, or what do you how are you when you're thinking about this? What do you?
Okay, there's 2 steps to that. Right now, make them for 1 year. So your 1 year goal. Okay. And then we'll come back to that when we're done.
Got it.
Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to now put this in visual perspectives. So you're going to get another piece of paper, and you're going to draw a large circle. Okay. And then with inside that circle, you're going to draw another circle. And then with inside that second circle, I'll show you in a second, you're going to draw a third circle. So it basically looks like a bullseye, right? My paper is just white. I don't know if you can see anything. Probably can't, right? Do you see that, Pete?
No? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, you can see it.
I have a backlight here on the window. So you have these concentric circles, okay? Now divide them.
Like that.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, like that. Now you're going to divide them into 5 categories, and it'll kind of go like a pie chart, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So they're divided like this. 5 slices of the pizza, right? Each one of these slices of pizza is going to be one of these categories: your time, your financial, your mental, your social, and your health. Just like this. Next to those, write your 3 goals that you want to do. Okay. So next to your health, 20 pounds, go to the gym 3 times a week, and eat only vegetables and meat, something, whatever. Financial, save $2,000 a month, 3 to 6 month emergency fund, whatever. Okay, now, sorry if this is long or boring. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. So you have your goals, and I would suggest you do this large on like a wall. Like I don't have that on a wall, but I have, like, this is my city right here, and I track how many pools I have within my location, right? And one of my goals this year is that when I do my city location, that my car never reaches full operating temperature, so that I can do each pool without my car ever getting up to full temperature. So put it on something like that on your wall.
Wait,
okay, so you can see
that's
this.
a nice rabbit trail. That's a nice rabbit trail. Mike, what did you just say?
What?
Can you say that again? I mean, you just said cars within. What did you say about your car heating up?
Oh,
did I miss?
Okay, so I would like to. I'm playing with a fun goal of when I do my location route, which is my personal route by my house. I'm trying to organize my route so my car never gets to the full operating temperature. It's just something fun to do.
Dang. Okay, that is super nerdy. I love that. You get
okay.
You get the nerdy award, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm very tuned in right now.
I was like, how the hell do you do?
Okay, because people are going to skip over on this section and be like, everybody's going to say the same thing I just said. What did you just say? So thank you for clarifying that. That is fantastic. Yeah, that's rad. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Well, this is only like a day or two of my route. This isn't my entire life, but I have that, I have my day in my areas that I'm, if I did it properly, if I could get another 1 or 2 here or there, like that's something I'm playing with, is to just, see if I can, run around on, a quarter of my temperature or something like that, so, and I'm kind of close to actually doing that. That's what made me think about it. Okay. So now you want to take your goal, and you want to put on this wheel, this diagram, like how you feel you fall into it. Like, is your financial way out here, and ideally you want to get into the center, right? Eventually, ideally, look, you want to have everything that you wanted, right? You want to be all in here. So you could be here, you could be here with this. I'm randomly putting stuff, you could be here. So you have things like this.
Zach, where's your paper? I don't even see you write anything down, bro. What are you doing?
When I was at the pool show last weekend, we did goal, like I went to all like business related classes.
All right, you get a hall pass. I'm driving, so I'm just
like
giving you a hard time.
repeat of what we were just talking about. We had a couple guys from the Bay Area that run massive companies, and I was in their classes for like 4.5 straight hours.
It's a common theme you see, like successful companies. I've seen it in manufacturing, everything else. You got to do this stuff, so it's very important. Yeah.
Well, right now there's a lot of details, but after this detail is done, it becomes a visual, and I'll show you how it can become a visual. So, and by the next step is creating it more of a visual. So now you have your 10 goals on. I have fitness. I colored it yellow or orange. I don't know. Orange. So on your diagram now, you're going to color in, and you should make this nice. And then health I have is blue. So I'm going to color that in. Let me create another one real quick, just so you can see. Let's say, okay, you have your mental goals. You color that in. Now, as you look at this, I really don't know if you can see any of this because of the backlight.
The closer you get to the camera, the better we could see it.
see if that's too dark. All right. So, I was on it backwards. Sorry.
I was like,
Okay.
what the heck?
Yeah. I mean, make it nice.
There
You know
you
what
go.
I mean? Make it nice and make it full colored so you can really see, right? And what you see now is you get a visual perspective of what is it you really need to work on in your life?
Ooh.
And what is it that you're doing well? Okay. Now, this is I don't consider this off topic, but I would like to give for the people that don't know, because I mean, I thought so much about this. I've read so much stuff and I wrote them down so I can just tell you what they are. But what I think you need to have as a minimum to really be on this chart. Like, what kind of time do you need? What kind of health basis do you need what kind of financial basis do you need to have just the beginnings of success? Does that make sense? So let me just go on to the next thing and see if it makes sense then. Okay, so where do you fall in time? Time's very confusing, right? It's very confusing to say, do I have enough time or not? Like, so where am I? Do I have a lot of time? Do I not have much time? Okay, so with everything that I've come across, this is how I see what you need. Okay, I hope this makes sense. But okay, so for time, Pete, let's see. I'm going to test you on time. Okay. Let's say you were looking at a magazine. You like fishing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you were looking at a magazine and you saw that at a lake by your house, they're going to have a fishing competition, right? A largemouth bass fishing competition. Okay. And it really inspires you. You're like, I want to do this, but I'm going to need to practice. You know, I'm going to have to go to the lake. I'm going to have to practice. I have to see, where are the fish? Where do they hang out? What time of the day do they bite? What are they biting on? You got to figure all that out, right? If you want a chance in this competition, this fishing competition.
Right.
Okay. So here's my question. Do you have 4 hours in the week that you could devote to practicing for this competition without taking away from your work, from your family, from your health, from anything else?
Yeah, I do. I've always seen it like this. When there's something you want to do, it just becomes a priority and you make time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you can make that time without saying, well, I'm not going to work then. I'm going to take off an hour. I'm going to take off 2 hours twice a week and go to the lake to practice and learn where these fish are and learn what they're biting on. You don't have to sacrifice your work, do you? Do you have to sacrifice going to church with your family? Do you have to sacrifice any of that stuff?
Well, I mean, something's gonna have to give, because if your time's full, I'm either spending it with the wife, spending it at work, spending it doing something. So something's got to give. So obviously, I'm not gonna take time away from my work, but I might take time away from my family. Instead of being with them 3 hours out of the day, I'm gonna be with them 2 hours out of the day, because one of the hours I'm gonna be training. Yeah.
So I would just call it valuable time. You know, don't take away valuable time. You know, you have downtime. Can you get 4 hours of downtime in a week? If you could do that, if you could do that, to me, on this chart, that is where you start on time. You know what I mean? So where you start on these other categories, another way you could evaluate time, if that's a little complex or abstract, is there's another.
To be honest, Mike, I'm having a hard time understanding the circle. Like, what does the middle part of the circle mean? What's the exterior, the outer part of the circle? Like, what does the circle
you've reached your goal. outer,
okay.
like the further out you go is the further away you are from your goal. And so you're tracking your starting point until you get to your goal.
So
I think a little bit better of an
it,
idea to like, understand what he's talking about with time is your wife gets in a really bad accident, and for the next month you're taking her back and forth to doctor's appointments and physical therapy and picking up the slack at home. Do you still have a business? Can you still live? I think that's like when I think about like time as being like valuable, I think about it like my parents live 2.5 hours north of me. What if one of them gets really sick or in a car accident and I have to leave for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of how I think about it. That's how a mentor explained it to me, because I think it was his brother died when he was like 35, and he just had to leave the state for like a month to go and settle everything up for his family and take care of everything. And he just like, he was in the position where his business was able to run without him. And so like, that's kind of what he was talking about in that scenario. But I think that's probably a better, what Michael's trying to explain is probably more like that. Like everybody can make 4 hours a week work. Like you're not watching TV today.
Right.
If you're self-employed, you can't leave. If you have a business, that means you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
gotcha.
I can leave for probably maybe a month, but I don't have people that do really my billing. So it's like, I would have to be there for the billing. So I don't automate everything or delegate everything.
So pretty much, can the business run on its own?
Yeah. As a side, yes, as a side subject. But right now, you're just trying to find out on this wheel, like you said, it was a little confusing. Where's your starting point? And then you're going to work on your goals to move inwards towards the middle. Okay.
Okay.
And your goal for time might not be that you can disappear for a month. It might be so that you can just enjoy your weekends and take your son fishing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
yes. Yeah. That's just that one category. So let's say another way people evaluate time, a common thing I hear is an 8-8-8 principle. So 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of fun, other things in life. So if you want to base it off of that, maybe you're working 12 hours work, 6 hours sleep, and whatever for fun and hobbies and other things. If that works for you, that works for you. But a general, well-rounded, balanced life is like a good 8, 8, and 8. You sleep 8 hours. Most people don't. You work 8 hours. You take care of other things and do fun stuff for 8 hours. That's a balance. So you could do that kind of balance. I'm just giving you where I see people starting on their goals. Okay, what you should have to as a basis, because all of these things I'm saying have been are proven to be at a healthy standpoint. So since I said health, let me go to what a healthy standpoint is. Okay, healthy standpoint all has to do about something called metabolic resistance. Okay, most of the diseases, most of complications come from metabolic dysfunction. I'm just going to name these off. Don't worry about them. Someone could look into them in the future. Okay. But you're going to have to ask a doctor about these things, but it's about one of them is about your triglycerides. You want that under 150. Your glucose, fasting glucose, you want under 100. Your HDL, you want greater than 40. Your blood pressure, you want less than 130 over 85. I'm saying this fast just because we're not going to care about this after I say it. Your hemoglobin A1C, you want less than 5.0, and your body mass index, okay, you want in a normal range. If you have all that, you have a good health level to move forward with other issues. To move forward in improvement, you always can improve. With your mental, mentally healthy people are very forward-focused people. You don't want to focus backward. You want to focus present and forward. Mostly present, but a little forward. That's what leads to real happiness. Backwards thinking is known as, if you think too much about past, that tends to lead to depression. Happy past usually doesn't require a lot of constant mental playback. So if you're constantly mentally playing back your past, that really leads towards depression. And if you're constantly thinking about the future with what if questions, that leads to anxiety. So those are the two main focuses, future focus, anxiety, past focus, depression. You want to be mostly present focused with positive forward focus future. Financial, I would say one of the first things to start with financial is you really want to have no debt, except for your house, maybe student loans, because I know some people have ridiculous student loans. But you got to work on the credit card debt. You got to work on the car payment debt, because those are the most expensive interest rates on those things. When you get those out of the way, you can notice a big improvement in money, because you're just giving money to the bank, really, in those things. I think credit cards are going to be maxed out at 10% under Trump, but before that, they could be like 35%. So when you make your minimum payment, you owe $10,000 to the credit card. You make your minimum payment, you'll be paying that for 2 decades to finally pay that off, and you pay tens of thousands of dollars to borrow $10,000. So you want to try to be debt free as much as you can. Another good starting point is you really should have an emergency fund, $10,000 or 3 to 6 months if you have a lot of expenses. Can you cover all your monthly cost, right? So your monthly costs are $10,000. Can you at least cover that and have a little bit more? Or are you making $9,500 and your costs are $10,000? Whatever. Last category with friends. I've in reading about it and listening about stuff, it's good to have 3 friends, someone you could call if you have a bad experience or something bad's happening in your life, someone you feel like you could call and tell as a friend, and they're going to make you feel better. Or someone you could call, you have a flat tire, someone you could call, they're going to come help you with your flat tire. And also another good for social is like joining a community of things in your area. So maybe even like a pool association, even like IPSA could be something like that. That's how you really start on this diagram.
Jumping off that friend's point for a second, I forget who I was listening to. Might have been like a TED Talk or something, but they were talking about there's like a lot of scientific studies for men specifically. I don't think the study looked into women, but when men are able to join like a YMCA pickup basketball league or something, and they have maybe not the best friends ever, but just like a group of guy friends that they get with regularly, it's massive for their mental health.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I said 3 is because I hear a bunch of times about people saying 20. Someone with 20
close friends. Close friends is a small circle.
It's better to have 3 close friends than 20 acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to call them in a bad situation. You should be able to call them for help. If you could have something like that, that's great. That's a good goal. So,
what if your wife won't let you have friends?
That's an unhealthy relationship, sir. You gotta talk about boundaries.
Well, define what type of friends you're having first, Pete.
Right.
If it's like, these friends, they want to go do this. It's like your wife's gonna probably say no, bro.
Maybe it's just your friends, Pete.
Probably.
Maybe it's just your
then
friends.
you just hire them. Now they work for you, so she can't say no.
That's my employee, babe.
All right, so Brian,
I have to go clean them today.
You said, Brian, you said that you like nerdy stuff or something when I said something nerdy. So
yeah, everybody knows I like to nerd out on weird things. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing, the last thing and the most nerdy of all is you have your 3 goals in every category. You have this wheel, which you're kind of like, okay, what about that? I don't really understand about what to do with that yet. Okay. Now the most nerdy thing, and but kind of the most important, is you do have to get a schedule book. You have to get a schedule book that basically has your days broken down. And if you're not a schedule, don't worry, because I'm not going to tell you to schedule stuff. You'll see how it's going to work. But you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this book goes from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. And then there's space up top, because I tend to get up early to do like gyms and stuff like that. Or walking. So I can use up top also. So you're not going to schedule your life what you're going to do is you're going to live your normal life, but every few days, you're going to go back and you're going to write down everything you did. So this is a scheduling in reverse, what I call it.
Oh my gosh, bro. Yes. This is very,
Because
okay.
nobody wants to live on a schedule.
I think Brian just had an orgasm on
No,
schedules.
no, I did
Bro.
not. I had an aneurysm, was the opposite. So no, it was the opposite.
Yeah, I don't want to live on a
with
schedule.
ADD. It's horrible. Left-handed with ADD is the worst. So
I too, and I know I too, and I know and most people they don't want to look at it on Sunday and fill up the whole week and be like, here's what I got to do here. Here's what I got to do here. I don't want to live like that either. So instead, what I do is I go do about 3 days and then I write down, what did I do? Oh, I woke up, I went on a walk, then I went to work, then I picked up my son, then we did this, we did that, then we had tennis practice, and then we had dinner, and then I read a book, whatever.
I like
reverse,
this idea
in the past.
I like this idea. So if you can give me a second. So what I find that works for me well is I use ChatGPT for a lot of weird things that people don't use it for, but you can go in and develop a prompt with AI. Every day it can ask you a set of questions and you basically log into that and it can record all this stuff for you. Because for me, I have a crazy aversion to writing things down.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, what happened to me in my childhood where I have trauma, but I think it was all the teachers saying like your penmanship sucks. It's like, yeah, because I'm left-handed, I'm smearing all the ink everywhere. So teach me a different way to write, Yeah, I unlocked that childhood trauma. But I think there's tools out there that might, because some people, I think, Michael, they'll listen to that idea and they'll go, that's just too much, bro. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not wired that way. But I think the concept is great. You just have to figure a tool that works well for your brain.
You really only need to do it 2 or 3 times a week. You know what I mean? Like if you did it on Wednesday, you wrote Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You would do it Wednesday night. And then on Saturday, you could write Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You could be done.
That's good. Okay. That's
so
good.
Really only twice a week. Okay. But so after you write down what you do, you don't try to change your schedule. You don't try to be like, I want to get good. You do the reality of your life. Okay. Now here's where it finally comes into play that all this ties into itself. After you're done with a week, go back and look at everything you did that was with your friends or family. And then look at everywhere you worked. Okay, I worked from 8 to 1. Okay, you find all that stuff. And you have a color here. You have a color for when you worked
color?
out. Well, I have health is blue.
That's going to be red.
What?
It's going to be red because it makes me angry. So go ahead.
You look at everything has a color. I put mental as green, financial as orange, health is blue. So actually, I use financial, I use work for blue. And you just highlight it. And then you get this. Oh, geez, that's not a good one. That was like vacation time. And then you get this. Geez. Can't see anything.
That looks like a rainbow. What happened?
So then you get this. All right. So now I know when I look at a week and I look back at a week, I could be like, holy crap, I didn't work much this week. Maybe I need to work more the next week. Okay. I worked out every morning, 5 days a week. That was good. I worked quite a bit and I still had a good amount of family time, social time. And if you're a workaholic, you're going to notice it right away.
It just started making sense to me. Okay.
If you aren't
the
working
colors are
out,
going to tell you of your well-balanced time.
Yes, right. If you aren't working out, you're not going to see any, for me, it's green. You're not going to see any green. And you're going to be like, no wonder I have health problems. Right? So,
yeah.
So what happens now is, okay, right here on this Thursday, I have a green right here and it says I jogged a half a mile while the kids were playing at a playground. I'm like, okay, I want to improve my health. Let's say that's one of my main goals. I want to improve my health. Here I jogged. That's good for me. That's Thursday at
We
5
know
p.m.
you now live in a safe neighborhood, Mike. You live in a safe neighborhood because you can jog while your kids are playing in a park. We got it. Very safe neighborhood.
Right.
Mike, you'd be jogging like this
Yeah.
with an AR.
You'd be lapping the playground. That's what you're doing. You're lapping the playground. Is that what you mean? You're lapping the playground? Because
Yes.
I don't anticipate you driving. Okay, just checking.
No.
We're gonna go back to the mental health part.
I had my
So-
phone. I had my phone in my hand with 911 dialed already.
All right.
So I jogged right here on Thursday at 5 p.m. Okay, so
Cool.
is that a possibility in my life? Well, let me see, because now I know how my life looks. So Thursday before at 5 p.m., I was decorating for Halloween with the kids. Thursday before that, I didn't even have anything there. Thursday before that, 5 p.m., I was just home. Well, let me check one more.
This is crazy.
Thursday before that,
This is wild.
I was doing bills, which is like a once a month thing, which is, once a month. So that's not that accurate. Now I know Thursday, 5 p.m., I can exercise.
Wow.
I shouldn't be able to have a problem exercising on Thursday at 5 p.m. because I did it, and there's nothing there that is an excuse why I can't do it. And you look at this from a distance. So you know what you engage in life with this calendar, with this chart and these colors. And you don't look at it like this. You're not like this looking at it, You're looking at it from your wall. Okay? And you're saying, I see that. I see that I don't have any friends and I'm not hanging out with any friends on my calendar. I see that I have money problems and I'm not working enough. I see that I don't have good health and I don't like my health status and I don't have anywhere I'm working out. And then you can find places to put stuff. So now when Sunday comes, you have these ideas every Sunday, and instead of writing out your whole next week, just write out those important things that you're changing. And just focus on those important things you're changing. And
you know what's crazy about that, Mike, is that like there's people that have to schedule everything, right?
Yeah.
Like you. That to me is like,
but you see,
because I live day by day, and whatever I have scheduled, whatever happens, and to see that is like, to me, it's awesome. It's like really cool, but it's like almost in a way intimidating because I'm like, damn.
Oh yeah,
I
get some
have
anxiety going.
I have to jump, but Pete, I would say that Michael, with his system and his calendar, he's doing things very, very intentionally because he has a clear and defined set goal and a roadmap to get those goals. Whereas I'm kind of between what you and he are like, where like a couple years ago, I was like, let's just see what tomorrow brings. We'll take it as it comes. And I'm trying to get more to what Michael's doing so that I can.
Do you feel it's helping you out though?
Yeah, because you're never going to hit a goal unless you have one, and you're never going to hit a goal that you have unless you have a roadmap to actually get it. And so he's being very intentional with like every day.
With
every block of
everything
time.
though, because like whenever I have a goal, I have a roadmap to that goal and I have my steps, but I've never done it like you do it, Michael, with everything, your time, your finances, everything like that. That's interesting.
But that's how you hit all your goals. That's how you hit them. But I have to jump. I'm gonna listen to the rest of this when you publish it next week.
All right, Zach.
Bye,
have a good
Zach.
one.
It's fun messing with you.
See you, Zach.
Thanks for being kind.
Good to meet you guys.
But honestly, Pete, I'm only planning ahead maybe 20% of my time. I'm only planning those specific little things. And 80% of my time, I'm looking backwards in reverse.
I'm going to do that today.
It's crazy.
No joke, Mike. I'm going to do that today because I'm going to sit with my wife. I'm going to be like, let's do this real quick so we could see where our spending most of our time goes. That's interesting.
Here's what happens. When you plan ahead, when you plan ahead,
You have no, you
you're
get no
try-
surprises.
and you're trying to just match those plans. When you look
Right.
back and plan in reverse, you learn your behavior. It's called a rucksack. So you don't need to know that. But it's a form of meditation. It's actually a meditation to think backwards. And when you think backwards, it's a lot more difficult than when you think forward. So thinking backwards actually teaches you more about your behavior than planning your forward behavior. So don't worry about what you're doing, Pete. Just do it, and then write it out afterwards and look at it, what it looks like afterwards. And then you'll learn
Pete,
from
we're
it.
gonna,
And then you'll be
Pete,
like,
we're gonna
holy
start a
crap.
small group.
What's up, Brian?
We're gonna start a little small group around this idea. We're gonna sit down with Michael, have a 30-minute once a week. We would need to go to twice a week or 3 times a week, but
I'm
maybe
down.
we can make it a goal where there's some accountability here.
Yeah, like we see, like, oh, okay, like when on the report we'd be like, okay, well, most of your time, you said, Pete, you're trying to lose weight, but based on here, you only spend this amount of time on workout when you had the possibility of working out more. So then we hold each other accountable. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah. And that's like every group you can join for health. That's really all it is. It's just about accountability, basically.
I think accountability is very, very important because, like, when you don't, it's kind of like being self-employed as well. You don't have nobody pushing you. You don't have nobody on you. So with accountability with your time, with each other, it'll help us improve a lot better. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't have that accountability, what you need to then do when you do this twice a week or 3 times a week, when you do this calendar, okay? And you got to write anything anyways. You got to think backwards and write stuff. Make that your reflection period. Just do an hour of writing back and be accountable to yourself in your reflection of how do I do that? Everybody does that. But the people that do it the least accomplish the least amount of goals. The people that make a New Year's resolution and then ask themselves in December of the next year, did I do it? They never do it. Companies do quarterly, every 3 months or 4 months, whatever. Then they evaluate themselves. Small businesses, sometimes we do a month. We do a month and then how much did I make this month? How much did I spend, right? Some people do a week. Oh, did I accomplish my goals this week? I'm trying to get 4 pools a week, or I'm trying to get 2 pools a week. Did I get my 2 pools? Do it weekly. You could do daily if you wanted. It's a little excessive. Me, the greatest business device that I have, it's not a Riptide, it's not a carbon fiber pole, it's not a power vac, it's my $20 Casio watch. Because I know. This gets into pricing. I have to do, at this price for these pools, I need to do 3 of them an hour. So I get to the first one, I start my clock. And I just mentally, I don't stress about it, but I want to see in an hour I'm done with 3 pools. And if I'm way behind, then crap, I'm not following my target, because I want to get done at 1 because I want to pick up my kid and I want to do this and I want to go to the baseball game and I want to blah, 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 blah. I want to do all this stuff. So if at 9 o'clock I'm on pool 2 and I should be at pool 8 that's kind of a lot, 6, I should be on pool 6. I know I'm behind, and that'll all happen. And I don't stress about it and I don't even do it every day. But time is what makes me more successful than a Riptide.
Yeah.
All right. So, should I go on?
Let's call it for today, and then on next Saturday we'll jump back in and do part 2 of it. How does that sound?
Yeah, because there's more I want to talk about. Why most people struggle with goals, and I want to talk about. Let me say one last thing, because it was on topic here, and Brian mentioned it. Brian, when you said, "Are these goals for a year?" Well, I kind of lied about that. Because we can't accurately predict a year away and we say we want 50 pools, but the reality is maybe we could get 3, 4, 5 a week if we hauled ass. That comes out to 3 months. If you want to lose weight, you want to lose 20 pounds. Can you lose 2 pounds a week? Yeah, you can. Okay, that's 2 pounds a week, 4, 8. That's 25 pounds in 3 months. You can exceed your goals in your goals you had for a year can honestly be exceeded in 3 months. So on your wheel that you had all these goals for, those should be 3 months. You should be able to accomplish everything by 3 months.
Okay, so we're going to be short-term then.
They should be short-term goals. I mean, if you have something big on there, like I want to buy a house and you have no savings and you know, there's certain things like that, yes. But let's say you wanted to run.
Play the lottery. That's the input. Play the lottery. That's the input.
Win the lottery.
There it is.
Yeah. Let's say you wanted to do.
How do we make that a goal?
Let's say you wanted to, do a triathlon if you never trained. Their program, look up a triathlon program. It's 3 months. You could go from sitting on the couch to running to completing in a swim, bike, run triathlon in 3 months. I used to train triathletes when I was a personal trainer and I worked as a physiologist. I used to train triathletes. And 3 months. 3 months you can run a triathlon. 3 months you can get 50 pools. 3 months you could lose 20 pounds. 3 months you could do almost everything that you visualize for a year. So make them 3 months and just get serious, complete them, and then either relax the rest of the year or do it again.
So let's bring it back to because this show is aimed for beginner pool guys. So how can you put that for like somebody that's starting off the pool business?
I would really say our first podcast, because you're starting off the pool business. Let's first understand what I talked about in the first podcast about what are the ways to make money. What does everybody want to do? They want to have employees. What's the reality of that? If you live in Texas, go for employees. If you live in California,
get away from that. Yeah.
Yeah. You get away. Yeah. We have to be freaking magicians in California. So,
yeah.
So I would listen to that podcast because remember my goal of 20 pools a day, 4 days a week. I have more free time than most people. I have 3-day weekends. I can complete those pools because of my objective of what system I put the pools into. So I can complete them quickly.
But
and then
talking
I specialize.
But talking about goals, like we said, today's topic was goals. So for a new pool guy, like you said, so their goal might be to grow their business, right? Or become well established before they grow their business. So then now they're supposed to spend their time on either marketing if they want to grow their business, or going out there door to door, that sort of thing, right?
Okay.
Well,
so
I think step like real quick, Michael. This is also going back to what is that? Because everything you just said is vision, Pete. That's not a goal, right? Like when you say grow my business, like that's great, or be a big pool boss. Not to say, hey, pool boss probably heard me. Shout out to pool boss, but you know. You know what I mean? Like specifically, like everything you listen to, what Michael's saying is like the pool guy needs to listen to not just Michael saying set goals, but he's using very specific words to set those goals so that you can measure them, like,
gotcha.
So I think that's the first thing, is establishing what is a goal and then going into this is how you go about setting them.
The goal, if you played chess, okay, so you're a chess player. Your goal is to win. So what does one chess player do that beats the other chess player? Whoever wins is able to think more steps ahead. Okay? So an average person like us thinks of our next step. Oh, I'm going to advertise. And that's all they think about. But professionals think 3 to 5 steps ahead. So when you make a goal, I'm gonna advertise more. Okay, what's the first goal? Design an ad. Second goal, pick an ad source. Instagram, Google Earth, Google Maps, Yelp, door flyers. Next step, produce the content. Next step, deliver it. So that's 4 steps. All success can happen within 3 to 5 steps. Okay, so you want to do the triathlon. First step, you want to become a contractor. Let's keep it with pools. You want to become a pool contractor. Buy the material, study the material, sign up for the test, pass the test. 4 steps. Everything is basic. The details of, well, where do I buy the book? Don't think about that crap. Just think about the actual steps that get you that, right? So we can't beat out the chess players that can think 10 to 15 steps ahead. But we could beat out the pool guys that are only thinking 1 step if we just think 3 to 5 steps ahead on our goals. Can you hear me? Sounds like the audio went out.
No, yeah. Every time somebody presses mute on their mic, it'll do that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, your goal should be it could easily be accomplished in a 3 to 5 step little system there. You don't need to think 20 steps. That just bogs you down. You don't need to think where I got to go to the bookstore. I got to find out which books. I got to, am I studying? I don't know, whatever. Just all these other goals, all these other little things in the way. Don't focus on those. So as a new pool business that just starts, if you woke up on Monday morning and you hated your job and you were in an office and you didn't want to go to your job, and you were just like, I'm quitting, 8:00. I called the boss, I'm quitting. By Friday, 5 days later, you should be able to have a fully functioning pool company with names, logos, paperwork, accounting, advertising. You can have all of that because as you set these things up, everyone gives you a leeway. They say, okay, you don't have a DBA now, but you can still go ahead and collect in your name as long as if the doing business as your business name comes in later. That's what they let you do that. They give you leeway. So in 5 days, you can go from quitting your job to walking around and getting pool customers fully legitimately, fully insured, fully everything. Even like when you get insurance, you could say, okay, your insurance starts today, the day you're on the phone. Like they do all that stuff for you. So 5 days, 5 steps, you can have a pool business. So don't think beyond 3 to 5 steps. That's all you need to think in order to accomplish your goals. Try to put it into 3 to 5 steps. Don't make it more complicated than that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We're going to end the podcast right now. Brian, do you have anything else you want to chime in on?
No, I think that was really good. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was
Hey,
fun.
thank you, Michael. I want to thank everybody who jumped in. Brian, Zach, Marco, Michael. We talked about goals, the 5 topics, categories that fall under the goals, which is the health, financial, social, mental, and time. And then we were working on the graphs on how to actually apply it to our day-to-day. We're going to go ahead and do a part 2 of this on next Saturday. It'll come out on the next Monday. This one will come out this Monday, and then the next one will be next Monday. But we'll see you guys then. Thanks a lot, Michael. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. All right, I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you, Brian.
have a good one.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, Brian. All right, órale.
See you guys.
Let's vibe. Game so deep. Let's ride.